Hey, everybody. It's Friday night. Come on and tell us who you are and where you're joining us from. We'd like to welcome you from all over the world to yet another episode of formerly known as Asea 5, now known as the Rowdy Redox signaling molecules.
Whatever.
We haven't come up with a new name yet. We're still the Asea 5. So anyway, come and join us. And we've got a great show for you tonight. So let's see. We got people from Kansas and Lubbock, Texas. Georgetown, Texas is in the house tonight.
Yes.
Melbourne, Australia. That's in honor of our Aussies on here. Tennessee.
Cashville. Where's Cashville? I've never heard of Cashville, Tennessee.
Nashville.
That's a good place to live.
Yeah.
Malaysia, Quebec, Smithville. All right, let's I'm gonna go ahead and suspend the chat so we don't want the interruptions. And so guys, we're gonna go ahead and suspend the chats because we've got a lot to cover. We've got an amazing panel, and Doc is going to take over. Doc Maureen, have at it, girl.
Yeah.
Yes. Just so you know, the regulars, I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas, and I'm joined by Jim and Ann Glenn. Jim is our big money man, and Ann is our beautiful nutritionist and personal trainer. And of course, we have Dr. Lee Osler from Washington State, who is our dentist extraordinaire and the author of now 3 books. Redox Matters, Healthy Matters, and Why It Matters. So make sure that you go to redoxmatters.com and get a copy of each of those books. They're phenomenal. And tonight we have a very special, usually we're interviewing medical professionals on this call on Friday nights, but tonight we have a special treat. We have some of our top leaders in the company, people who are mentors to all of us, people who have led the way. They've come in for various different reasons and have had a real impact on the company and on the world. So we're going to start with Debbie Wexler, who's got some plans tonight. So she's graced us with her presence. She can tell us her story. So come on, Debbie, take over.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, my son-in-law surprised me with a Mother's Day outing. So thank you for letting me go first. And I was one of the first ones to hear about this years and years ago. And it was because of my vision of finding something that would help people without always using drugs and surgery, because I'd seen what happened to my dad. He had a very serious health challenge, and it was before Asea, so he had cancer, and he died from the chemo and radiation treatments. And that's when I went on a quest. And my big vision was to change the medical field as we know it, to have them go more in a direction of prevention, and to really help people. Because if you closed your eyes and thought of a world with peace, which would be beautiful, you could also close your eyes and think of everyone having access to letting themselves be very, very healthy at a cellular level, and not hearing like we do as leaders. Almost every day you hear about these very strange, weird, different diseases or things that are happening to people. And they've lost hope. They have no hope at all anymore. And they've been to several doctors, maybe many times, and nobody knows what they have, or they can't always, tell people what is going on inside their bodies. And so I went on a very deep quest to look for something. And I was also, which is part of my story, not in a very good financial situation at the time. So when I heard about these, I heard what they were, and I really just thought to myself, if this is really true, then this has got to be huge. And so one of the first things I did was take it to a scientist, because I thought maybe this is what I've been looking for. And it turned out it was, because she confirmed that this was massive, that they'd been trying at the National Institutes of Health to stabilize redox molecules for years. And she'd been studying them already for 13 years ago. And she went on to explain a lot more to me, what they did, where they were made. She was the first one to tell me instantly that they crossed the blood-brain barrier. So not only would these give us amazing results in the body, they'd also give us amazing results with many of the mental issues that people go through and are having. And so I was just kind of, I'd say, awestruck at that time. And I thought that the world's really got to know about this. And then I was lucky enough to be able to fly to the launch of the product and heard how the company started, saw the hands of the businessman we were in, and just truly understand that we were in a fabulous place. These men knew how to run a company, and they weren't going to let this business go bankrupt or not have enough product to send out or any of the stuff that can help young companies fail. And so once I learned all of that, I just came back. I flew back from the launch that year, and I was making the list of the people in my head who all would want to know about this. And I just started calling everybody I knew, basically, and just saying, you have to learn about this because this is incredible. This really is a true breakthrough, and this is going to change the medical field as we know it. And that's my big vision at this point. And that's what happened to me. And that's where I see this company going, is changing everything and having us be more like Japan, who's number one in the world of health still. And they pay their doctors when they're well, because that's when they're doing their job. They don't pay them when they're sick. And they put a lot of money into prevention because it's so much easier and cost effective to prevent illnesses and issues from happening than it is to have the issue and then try to treat it. So if we can change and become more like that, I think we will be a happier place. Our country's, I think, the only country that's allowed to even advertise drugs. And I think they're very much overly prescribed in our country. That's my opinion, I know, but I know I'm talking to doctors, but I know that they've looked into this and they know how much this can do for people at a very native, natural way. And so this turned me around financially. It saved my home. It saved my life. I owe my life to Asea, the leaders who started, like an Alan Noble. Without his help getting this thing started, I don't know where I'd be either. But the leadership of the company, the ethics, the ethos, everything about this so resonated. And it really did save my life in so many ways. And that's my story.
You know what, Deb, that is fantastic. And we have similar missions. And I don't know that I ever heard you mention your dad before. That really touches my heart because, I have those same feelings, even as a traditionally trained medical doctor. I know we have a lot of people to get to, but I would be remiss if I let you sneak away without just very quickly, succinctly, just talking about how a busy person can build this to an incredible income like you have. You started just in the nooks and crannies. If you would speak.
I did.
Yeah,
absolutely. So unfortunately, I'd lost my job, and I'd gotten a job as a server in a restaurant, and I was having to work double shifts just to try to make ends meet. And I literally had a 20-minute break from 4 to 4:20 every day because of the shift change. And so that's when I would take my little recipe cards, my little cards that I'd have people's names on. I'd go out to my car and I'd call 3 people every day in the privacy of my car and just say, I don't have much time, which is perfect. So I didn't have time to explain it. But I want to send you a video and I really care about you. Please take the time, would you, to learn about this because it's extraordinary. And I don't know what's going on in your life. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But we never know who might need this. If you might need it or someone you love might need this. And I'd send them a video. And the very next day, I told them I was going to call back about the same time to follow up with them. And it started growing from there. So I literally had 20 minutes. When I got home at midnight or 1 or 2, I would send the videos out while I was kind of winding down after the day. And then the next morning I'd get up and do the same thing all over again. And sometimes they would have watched them and sometimes they wouldn't, but I'd always have someone on the phone with me. And usually it was Cindy Buck at the time to be able to explain things because she'd already been to many fly-ins I hadn't. So that's how I learned, and that's how I was able to get people's questions answered. So if I can do that as another blonde housewife like Trish, fitting it into nicks and crannies, I know anybody can do it if they've got the desire, which I did, for many reasons, to help people.
Thank you,
So
Debbie.
thank you, Maureen.
Awesome. And hey, we probably should tell you what we're talking about here, because there's probably a whole lot of new people on who are like, okay, they've got a lot of people who seem pretty excited about this, but what are they talking about? Dr. Lee Osler, can you come on and just give a snippet of what redox signaling molecules are and also give our disclaimer for us?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you. And I'm so pleased to be on with this esteemed panel. What we're talking about is the body's ability to manage itself. These are the regulatory circuits that biologically we're talking about. And we are representing a company named Asea that produces a supplement, and therefore we don't make medical claims or speak to specific diseases because this is a supplement that assists our cells in being able to regulate gene activity that turns on and off switches that make us strong and resilient and healthy. So I will leave it at that and get back to our business panel.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. I appreciate it. Now, most of you know, or if you've been following us, you know that I and Gina Moran consider ourselves the princesses of Asea, but we have the queen. We have the queen on with us tonight, none other than Trish Schwenkler, who is the mother to us all, is the number one income earner in the whole company, and just are an incredible mentor to all of us. Trish, come on and take it away. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I forgot my crown tonight, but you'll just have to take me as I am. Say hi, Grace. Hi. This is my granddaughter. I live in Idaho. I'm currently in California taking care of my grandbabies while my daughter and her husband are in Hawaii. And I love Asea because I don't have to fix my hair if I don't want to. I don't have to wear makeup if I don't want to. I can work my Asea business with my grandchildren on my lap. I started network marketing almost 30 years ago when I had 3 young children on my lap. I have a high school education. I earn more income now than Dr. Lee Osler earns as a dentist. No offense, Dr. Osler. And I just love the opportunities that this business affords. I love the miraculous molecules of Asea. I love the fact that we have zero competition in the marketplace. No one else in the world, after 13 years in business, has been able to copy Asea. No one else in the world has bioactive stabilized redox signaling molecules. And what's not to love about our miraculous product, our incredible business opportunity, the ability to fit, your business, just like Debbie said, into the nooks and crannies of your life, to keep first things first, because we all know that family is very important, the most important thing for most of us. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So just great being with everybody, all of these esteemed folks here. Really want to thank Jim and Ann and Maureen and Dr. Lee Osler for hosting this Asea 5 every single week. True dedication. Thanks, everybody. Great to be with you. Say goodbye, Grace.
Bye.
Oh, bye, Grace. Thanks.
So awesome.
That was perfect. So thank you so much. Now we're going to have Cristina Williams come on. She's a brand new mother and the author of a book, 10 Things I Wish I'd Known About Network Marketing. I may have messed that up, but I read the book. Absolutely phenomenal. Everybody should get the book. So there you go. Yeah. So Cristina, come on and take it away.
Oh, it is really such a pleasure to be with all of you. This is, if you don't know these people, trust me, you want to get to know these people. This is an amazing group of just wholehearted, big living, huge accomplishment, inspiring people. And what's cool is that we're all from all different walks of life. Although I guess up front right now, you're hearing from a few mothers, and I am a new mother, but I'm also an old mother. I in the sense that we're a blended family. We have 7 boys. I also do come from the world of business. I've had my own business previous to this. So I guess you can appreciate I was really, really busy. And I do have a little internal chuckle when people say to me, I'm too busy for this. And my question is, you want to stay that way forever? So you might be here and thinking, it's Friday night. I've had a heck of a week. And I know what that's like, right? But the question is that where I want to stay? And the answer for me was definitely no. I had big plans for my life, but have you ever ended up somewhere and in your life and you're wondering, like, how did I get here? This just was not the design. And interestingly, actually, I had wanted to be a doctor. I'd done physiotherapy. I'd been accepted to med school, but everything went in a different direction. Started having kids when I was young. Fast forward to the age of 30, and I was divorced. I had 4 young boys, under 6 or so at the time. And for the next decade, I really learned the art of struggling and juggling. And it's not just single moms, it's single dads, it's 2-parent families. When you're just looking at the money slipping through and there's never enough, that just gut-wrenching feeling when you look at your kids and you just don't know how you're going to make ends meet. For me, my passion is my family, and it was absolutely heartbreaking to not be able to provide for those beautiful boys properly. And you might be in that point of frustration, and it can make you sad, but it can also make you mad. And I was mad. I remember a specific moment, and I'll share it with you, where I was at an Italian restaurant that I had seen, and we wanted to go, and I arrived there with the kids and we sat down, and I thought, what the heck, I'm just going to shout us tonight, right? Because I just wanted to do something nice for us. And I remember opening the menu and my stomach sinking and thinking, we can't do this. I can't eat here. And I remember looking at my boys sharing a couple of garlic breads. I was starving, but I said to the kids, no, I'm so full. I'm just going to have a water. And I remember the anger as I'm looking around to all these other families. Everyone's laughing, drinking wine. Yeah, another bottle, bring the lobster. And I remember this anger building, thinking, what have I done wrong? Because it's not like I sat around watching TV. I worked my guts out. And yet here I am, mid-30s, got nothing, no education, no savings, nothing. So when I saw this opportunity, which I thought I saw this, thankfully, through my ex-husband, who you'll meet tonight, and I'm eternally grateful for his friend, Dan, who brought this to us. And you should be grateful to whoever's brought you here. You may not even know what you've got right now, but life is not a dress rehearsal. And I think we all come to this like honest moment with ourselves. I certainly did, where I looked myself in the mirror and said, is this how you want to live? Is this the rest of your life? Because if it's not, the time to do something about it is now. Like, it's ticking, it's happening. And a lot of the times we ask ourselves the wrong question, like, oh, can I make it doing this? The question I had to ask myself was, what are my chances of making it without this? I don't know about you, but I didn't have people knocking down my door with opportunity. I didn't have the luxury of being picky. It was like, hey, if other people are doing well with this, I will figure it out. I will learn. I will put on the hat. I will learn. You know why? Because of my kids. And you might be in that situation. And if I'm happy for you, if you have thought, if you're a fighter, if you're struggling, if you're on fire for freedom and for your family, I am happy for you to be here, because this is a good place when you can make something happen. I'll wrap up with this. We have some incredible positioning. If you don't know these products, they will blow your socks off. We are at the fastest growing industry segment of the market is the medical industry, because quite frankly, as we all know, it's not working. So there is huge innovation, huge progress, huge hunger, and the ability to be in this segment of the marketplace with a product that is groundbreaking, that has zero competitor, that you can have the distribution rights across 34 countries. I'm getting goosebumps. That's an insane opportunity that any entrepreneur would recognize. And the result of having jumped into this for us has been just a life of freedom, of choices. I can't even say that without breaking up, because I'm just so proud of what this has done for our family. I worked, I continue to work. I found time in the middle of the night. I have done things that are uncomfortable. I've made a fool of myself, but my boys live with choices. We've traveled the world. We've got our own home. We've been able to have another child, and I'm a stay-at-home mama. And we look at a future with freedom inside a world that is increasingly uncertain, and that is priceless. So thank you so much for having me. I encourage you to just really check this out.
It's wonderful.
Wow, Cristina, that kind of said it all. That's fabulous. Yeah. So thank you for that. Now we're going to go to our tennis star and Cinderella and captain of her own ship, Miss Gina Moran. Come on. share your story.
Thanks, Mel. Well, hey, it's such an honor to be here with all of you high-level achievers and servant leaders. And that's what I love most about this company is the servanthood here. If it isn't, enough for the ethos and just the viability, this is so different than anything else you've ever seen. But I wouldn't have even known what I was looking at. I come from a background of motherhood. So I want to wish all of you mothers out there today a very, very happy Mother's Day. And, if you're a mom, you're a master, you have a master's in multitasking, right? And so we all do. It's just bred into our DNA. But, at the end of the day, there's only so many hours left. And like Cristina, we came from building a house, got caught in the 08 and 09 mortgage and real estate crisis. So I didn't come into this because I had a health crisis. I had a financial crisis. And it was really, really bad. We lost the home. I still had 4 of my beautiful daughters at home, 4 of my 6 children. It put us into just dire straits. And, like her, I don't know if any of you out there today know what that feels like to maybe lose your job or to lose your income or your retirement. Something from your financial security has been snatched away from you. But that's not a good feeling, especially when you know that you're the sole caregiver for the 4 beautiful children that still depend on you. That's a feeling and a place I never want to be in again, wondering how we're going to put food on the table and keep a roof over their head. And so really Asea came to me through a hope and a prayer. And I will be forever grateful for one of the gentlemen here on the panel today, Jerry White, and also my personal sponsor, Dr. Dick Walker, 2 medical professionals that brought this to me in the middle of my financial distress. And again, not because I had a health crisis, I had a financial crisis, but because I had trusted these men and I knew that they had done the due diligence. They had looked deep into the science. They had done everything that a man of their expertise would need to do to know that they simply had found the greatest scientific achievement of the 21st century. And when they brought it to me, little did I know that this would become the greatest scientific achievement of the 21st century. We literally have 1 technology, 2 applications taking over $3 trillion markets, health and wellness, athletic performance and recovery, and skincare and anti-aging now, which is one of the greatest things. I love the fact that I can say I'm going to walk into my 62nd birthday feeling like I'm 32. It's great to be running around and not feeling your age. So that's one of the things that I love most about these molecules, but just the ability to know that this technology could literally transform lives and that I didn't have to be a health professional. I didn't have to be the expert. I didn't have to know all the science. God bless you all that want to look at it, because there is literally probably 350,000 studies on PubMed today. There are over 1 million probably papers on Scholar, Google, right? There's just so much science out there. You could literally spend the rest of your life in that. But you know what I like to tell people is that if you really want to know how these molecules work, just pour them in your body. You just put them in your body and you watch them go to work. And guess what? You start to feel them. You start to see. You start to know that what we're talking about here tonight is real. And I know that probably many of you watching this tonight know someone who is either facing a health crisis or a financial crisis. And I'm here to tell you, as a single mom who did not have any kind of extensive background in finance or medical or health, that you can do this too. If you have a passion and a desire to help people, you can leverage the tools and the resources that this company has provided, and you can own your time. And for me, that is the most precious commodity that we all have a choice of every day, right? Every minute of every hour of every day, we get to decide, when we're going to wake up, to when we're going to go to the gym, to how much time we're going to spend with our kids, to, where we want a vacation. We're not selling our soul to build someone else's dream now. This is about building our legacy business and about leaving something for our children, an inheritance, and something that's truly, willable. So everything we build here, as we bless and change lives, is going to be passed on for generations. But again, back to that time thing, guys, I'm just proud to say that today I can be the captain of my own ship. I don't have to, I'm so unemployable, right? I wouldn't even know what it was like to work for somebody else. I'm just tasting this freedom. It's so liberating to know that every day that I wake up, I have a choice and a decision of, what I'm going to do with my income, right? There's no cap on my income. So I just want to challenge all of you out there tonight. If you're like Cristina said, if you're in a place in your life where you're just not happy and you just feel stuck and you want something more, I challenge you to take a deeper look here with this company, because you won't find a more ethical, viable business model out there, and you won't find a company more stable. And I'm proud to say that I just saw the email tonight. For the last 5 years, Asea has jumped into the top 100 direct sales companies in the world. And I see now that we are sitting again at number 43. You guys, that's huge. Like Cristina said, we have so many groundbreaking technologies that we have 33 countries to play in, and it's a wide open field out there. So we welcome you to come in, take a look, and build your dreams and enjoy the life that you deserve. Thanks, Maureen.
Thanks, Gina. And your story really is a Cinderella story. I just absolutely love it. So lead in the crowd. Dan Doyle, I want you to come on next. Now, I do have to say, Dan, you're probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. And I also have to say that your story is probably one of the stories I share on Real Redox Results more than any other story, because it's so impactful. So please come on and share how you came into this and how you're using it to change the world. I just love it.
Thanks, Maureen. Thanks, everybody. Thank you guys for hosting this every single week. This is invaluable for all of us and for the field. I highly recommend the 300 to 400 people that's on this call now to join this every single week, because the information and the education, the knowledge you're going to get, and the knowledge that you need to share this, to build a business like this, it's a call to definitely be on. Long story short, we've got a few people to get through here, but I think if for anybody on the call that doesn't know my story, the full story, if you go to YouTube, is on Asea Dan Doyle. Just do a search on that and you'll get my full story. I'm not obviously going to go through that, but I'm a guy who came from finding out that exchanging time for money back in the early days when I was corporate wasn't the way to go, and I thought traditional business was the way that I was going to build wealth. And I got into traditional business and I had a really good run, built 20 traditional businesses from inception over 20 years and employed about 3,500 people, basically just buying myself a job every single time that I figured out after a period of time. And it was sort of linear income. I was building, selling, and I'd had to start all over again. But there was a lot of stress and pressure through employing people, obviously, and the risk and seed capital and everything that I went through and everything that I did, and probably got to me physically. Lost my health back in 2011. And when it comes to the network marketing industry, I only got into it as a byproduct of losing my health. Maureen, if you came to me 12 years ago and you told me about network marketing, I probably would have never have spoken to you ever again. So passionate, hated the industry passionately. And you know why? Wasn't educated. I was a guy who used to make decisions on things that I wasn't informed about. And big lesson, huge lesson to be learned in regards to that. So when it comes to making decisions on anything at all, guys, just make sure you do your due diligence. You're fully educated on, what you're looking at, regardless of whether it's a company like this or an investment. Doesn't matter what it is in life, and then make an informed decision. But, if I got into the network marketing industry when I was first told, I'd probably would have been in the industry longer than Mal Sword and Ed Weins put together. Now, I know that's physically impossible. That would never have happened, even though Mal's been in the industry since 1910. But seriously, I would have been in the industry for 35 years from the time I heard about this the first time. My fault. I missed out. Oh, while I'm here, I just got to show loud and proud. Here you go. This is for Jerry Yerke. I forgot I had the big M on. So, an incredible run. I mean, as I said, as a byproduct of losing my health, I fell into the network marketing industry. Now, can you imagine if I didn't go through what I went through and I was still in traditional business and what could have happened over the last 3 years with the way the world went, how everything changed, I don't know where I would have been when it comes to traditional business. So thank God we're going back. It'll be 9 years this October. Bart Cotter called me and told me about this incredible breakthrough, knowing that I had health challenge that really no one had an answer for. And long story short, it turned my health around in a short period of time. I had the belief, literally just in a few hours, that this was doing something. The thing that I do regret is waiting 5 months before I started sharing this with people, like making a decision to do that, knowing what I know now. Same thing. I needed the education. I needed the knowledge to find out how big this was. Even though I was having an impact or getting the physical results that I wanted, I was a bit selfish, yes. It was all about me. I had to put my oxygen mask on, but I started helping others, which did what? Started receiving thank you checks, and those thank you checks I invested in more product for my own health. It was the business model behind Asea that saved my life in so many ways. Just to touch on what Gina was saying and reiterating around about the email that we got, confirmation from the company in regards to where we're going. I mean, 52 companies are over $100 million a year. We're one of them, and we're number 43, and we're moving up the ranks. Incredible to see that. It's a reflection of everybody that's on this call. It's a reflection of the whole membership that's helping people and getting the big blue bottle into people's hands. So incredible results, and really appreciate and thank you to everybody for collectively working together towards our goals, because we don't want to sit at 43 next year. I mean, our goal is to get to number one. I believe we're not just going to be $1 billion company or a $2 billion company. I've got my sights set on number one, and I'm sure I can see that Alan Noble has, Mal Sword, and all these guys on this call and all the top leaders in this company want to get the revenue is a reflection of the people we're helping. And, you know, there's a lot of us that can sit back and do nothing now because of what we've built and what we earned, but we don't do that. We don't do that for so many reasons. We've got this purpose-filled mission to get this into as many hands as possible. So, yeah, we've had a good run. We've been blessed with the opportunity. You know, if Bart didn't reach out to me, or if Bart Cotter was ignored on that phone call, I mean, I think we all know where I'd be physically. So yeah, just really appreciate the opportunity, not only with Asea, but to be connected with all of you guys and what we're doing. So thanks for the opportunity to chat tonight.
Love it, Dan. Thank you so much. And thank you for being you. And it's just a blessing to have you with us. So I'm so glad you found this. And I too went through my period of arrogance and ignorance, you know, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for it to sink in, but thank God it did. So truly. Now I'd like to bring on Malcolm Sword, who embodies our mission statement, which is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. Now, you're not just an incredible business person, but you are a philanthropist doing incredible humanitarian work. Would you mind coming on and talking a little bit about where you were and how you got invited to take a look at this and what it's done for you in your life and how you're paying it back?
Thank you. So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to share with everyone this evening. So I appreciate it. And my hope when I share the Asea opportunity with people, there'll be people on this call, there'll be 337 people. Some of you may be where I was this time 7 years ago when I began my journey with Asea. And my story is, in Australia, we call it, I tell people I went from being a rooster to a feather duster. So I had been a multi-millionaire and done very well. I've been in the networking space, networking industry for a little over 30 years now, seen the high highs and seen the low lows, many of which I caused myself. So I'd gone through a big up, and then I went through big down. I lost everything and ended up going through bankruptcy. And about 2010, 2011, around that era, and it was a really heavy winter. Some of you on this call might be going through that. And I also I wasn't a spring chicken when I came across this opportunity. So some of you, might be like me. I was when I'd lost everything, and when I looked at the Asea opportunity, I was 61 years of age. And so some of you might be thinking, am I too old for this? Am I too old to come back? And I think people invite me on these calls to show people that if this old bloke could do it, then you can do it. You can come back as well. I'm eternally grateful to the previous speaker, Danny Doyle. It was Danny who approached me about the opportunity. It was actually back in 2014, and he and I attended a fly-in in Salt Lake City in Utah. The timing wasn't right for me at that stage. I was going through a lot of chaos. I had a very large organization with another company that I couldn't just lay down. There was a lot of circumstances that I won't go into right now, but things changed. And during 2015, that company went from bad to worse, and the opportunity sort of disappeared. And so a couple of things happened, a couple of things coincided at the end of 2015. Number one, I watched the transformation in Danny Doyle's health, which was, if you don't know his story, it was just incredible. I mean, I watched Danny go through the health challenges before he came to Asea, and then, of course, subsequent to that, during the year that he was on the product. And the transformation was just unbelievable. So there was that I noticed when I caught up with Danny again late 2015. That prompted me to revisit looking at Asea. And the second thing that happened at the end of 2016 was my financial situation had gone from bad to worse again, and it looked like I'd have to go down the plug hole for a second time. I mean, it was really shocking. You know, I had no money, and it was just a terrible time. So Asea launched at that stage. I was in Australia. Steel was launching into Australia February 2016. I attended the launch of Asea, and one of the things that was very powerful for me in hindsight as to I think why I was able to do well, certainly because of Danny and Bart Cotter. They were incredibly helpful in the early stages. But the truth of the matter is I didn't have any other back doors. I had nowhere else to go. It was this or nothing. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where else to go. I had no money. I couldn't start another business. I couldn't go into another business. And so when I looked at Asea, I looked at this like this was probably my last shot at the title, and I treated it like that from the get-go. If it wasn't for Asea, I don't know what I'd be doing. Some of you are aware I applied to drive for Uber in Australia, but my car was too old, and they said in Australia, cars got to be less than 5 years old. And they said, "Oh, you need to buy another car." And I said, "Well, I haven't got any money." Well, no worries. You can borrow money and get a new car that way. I said, "No, I can't borrow money. I'm still under the auspices of bankruptcy. I'm not able to borrow any money." They said, "Well, terribly sorry, you can't drive for Uber." So that door closed. If it hadn't closed, I might have been your Brisbane Uber driver. But it did close, and so I came to Asea with the fact that I didn't have a back door. I had to make this work. Interestingly enough, I want to just share this little story with you. When I came to Asea, I was being contacted for lots of different opportunities. And there was a gentleman that contacted me about another company that was launching in Australia at a similar time. And he said, this is going to be really, really fast. This is going to be an explosive growing business. I won't mention the name of the business because I don't think it's around anymore. Funnily enough, when I was in Australia last weekend, I bumped into this gentleman in a restaurant that I was at. And he told me a little bit about the war stories of that company. But I remember when I started with Asea, what I said to him is, look, I don't want anything that's fast. I want something that's slower, not really slow, but I wanted something that was slower, but I wanted something that was going to be a legacy for my children, my 8 children, and my grandchildren, and my grandchildren's children. I didn't want a business that was going to come and go. And I recognized, like a lot of people on this call, a lot of the speakers, we're seasoned networkers, veterans. hundreds of years, probably if you combine the years. I think Trish said she's nearly 30. I'm 30. Alan's probably about the same. I know, Ed, probably you're the same. A couple of hundred years of experience in this industry. I'll never see another Asea again, and I don't think you will either. If you're on the call having a look at this company, you won't find a company with more integrity, decency, morality, ethics, the kind of company that I looked for my whole career. This has been an absolute godsend for me, my family. I'm very grateful, eternally grateful to Doyle and to Bart, especially in those early years when I was probably a little bit hard to get on with. Because I was so wounded, I was really hurting, and I desperately needed to come back financially, and it wasn't easy. I'm not going to tell you it was easy, because I had a battle with me. When you build a business like this, your biggest struggle is going to be with you. And I'd gone through a lot of stuff, and so it wasn't an easy journey. And often when you come on a webinar like this, you might think, well, I see the glory, but you won't necessarily hear the stories. And everybody's got a story. This is not going to be easy to build, but it is going to be worth it. And if you're going to build a business like this, you will not find a finer company on the planet than Asea. And every one of us who's been in the industry for a long, long time would attest to the same thing. It's an incredible company, incredible journey, and I'm very grateful. I give thanks every single day for the opportunity, and I'm able to pay that forward. I won't have time to go through that now, but I'm able to pay that forward into a country that's close to my heart in Tanzania. So, and I'm grateful for the opportunity of being able to do that. So, but look, thank you very much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure, and also love to hear everybody else's stories as we go through. So thank you very much for the invitation, and I hope that's been helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being so authentic and transparent about, what happens. It happens to a lot of people, but I think we all agree that this is our home. So glad to have you here. Next, I'd like to bring on a couple that I've known for many years. I love them. They're servant leaders, and they've just built an incredible organization, and they share with so many people, and they're leaders in the company for all of us. So Ed and Rebecca Weins, please come on and share your story. You're muted.
Okay, I had to mute on the mic here. So, well, thank you, Maureen. It's great to be with this esteemed group tonight. Thank you for the opportunity. We're the only ones in the Eastern time zone here, so it's probably later for us than anybody else that's on here. But we're just pleased to be a part of the combined message that's being shared tonight with this live audience and any of you that happen to watch this on a recording basis. Everybody's kind of given a little quick look back as to where they were in their life when they see across their radar screen. I came from a family of missionaries. My parents were missionaries when I was born in a little fishing village in Alaska, lived in South America. Rebecca came from a background of her father also was in ministry, and she was a nurse for a good portion of her career life. And I sort of followed my parents' footsteps, but I had ambitions and desires that I knew the nonprofit organizations that I worked for. They have a saying when people who work in ministry that the pay is lousy, but the retirement benefits are out of this world. And some of you will get that tomorrow. But I enjoyed what I was doing, but it just had limitations. I was introduced to network marketing. Actually, I got close to network marketing way before I had any idea what it was. When I was a young boy, my parents were both Idaho natives, so we lived in southern Idaho for 3 years between mission assignments. And we attended a church pastored by a gentleman whose last name was Rohn, R-O-H-N. Emmanuel was his first name. And he had a son named Jim. And I remember meeting Jim Rohn when I was about 9, 10 years old. And all I knew was that our pastor's son was real rich and sold vitamins. I had no idea what that really meant. And until I met him later, of course, and found out that my father and him were teenagers in the same area and fished some of the local ponds and streams. But I actually walked into a garage I was a senior in high school. I walked into one of my parents' friends' garage. I knew him to be a realtor, a builder, a handyman kind of a guy. and there were products on shelves lining the garage. And I said to him, what is all this stuff? And he said, oh, these are products that, help people clean things and keeps them healthy. And I said, will you sell this stuff? And he said, oh yeah. Then he said something really amazing to me. He said, if we recruit other people to sell these, we make a commission off of what they sell. And I thought, you have got to be kidding me. There's a concept like that. I'd never heard of anything like this. I mean, my first job was in sales. I sold boiled crab door to door in a fishing village in Alaska. My dad would catch them, mom would boil them, I'd go knock on doors and sell them crab. Sold newspapers on the street corner of Juneau, Alaska when I was like 8, 9 years old. So to do something like that, to earn an income based on your productivity, but then to leverage that to other people, that was revolutionary to me. Really didn't know what network marketing was. So I was introduced to it 50 years ago. That really ages me. I think I'm probably the oldest guy on this call too. I dipped my toe into the industry in the early 80s. And then in the 90s, kind of hit my first home run. And that's where I met some of you. Trish, I had a chance to meet her way back then. And some of the rest of you, we sort of crossed paths in that arena. Asea crossed my path at a really interesting time. I got a phone call from really valued friends about this new company that was launching in Utah, and would I come take a look at it? And I'd been through a tough chapter personally when my first wife had passed away, and thankfully, yes, really through the connections of this business, I was introduced to Rebecca, and I moved across the country, and we would been married about 6 months, I think, when this phone call came, and I said, Rebecca, you're a nurse. You're a really good researcher. You have a really, really pretty good BS detector. Would you go check this company out? And so she flew, thankfully, she made the trip in January of 2010 and checked this company out. And I think what you saw was enough that was compelling for you to at least sign up.
I'll register us.
Yeah. So I'd like to tell you that it registered with me at the time. It just didn't. I just knew historically in this industry, companies don't last 2 years. And so here was a new company that I probably thought was likely not going to be around. And I'm almost ashamed to tell you that I sat back and watched this from a distance for 5 years, almost 5 years. And finally, I decided, you know what, they're still around and something must be working. And I made the trip then, and I met the founders, and I had some of the real questions that I had beyond the product and beyond the marketing plan. It was the who behind the company. And that had to be settled with me, because a lot of companies have great products, but they don't have the leadership at the home office, the competence, the integrity to survive. And I saw that difference here. I heard Vertus Norton, our founder, tell the story. I heard him personally tell the Genesis story. And I remember asking him, what do you think would have happened if you'd have taken the payout check from the pharmaceutical company? And he looked around and he looked at me and he said, we're not sure, but we were not willing to take the risk that this product would never see the light of day. And that just spoke volumes to me, that they were so committed to make sure that humanity got this technology that I was in. And we've done our best to make up for lost time over the last 8, almost 9 years. And a powerful principle is really evident on the screen tonight, because this business, this word of mouth driven business, and word of mouth is really what's made business always go around. I was in a business network group in 2020. We met by Zoom. We read business books all throughout the year. I didn't realize that conventional advertising and marketing wasn't even a thing until the 1800s, during the Great Chocolate Wars. And prior to that, word of mouth was it. If you made widgets, you sold stuff at the marketplace, you were a craftsman. Word of mouth is what made your business thrive or die. And we're back to that today in network marketing, except our reach is phenomenal today. With the devices that we have, the communication tools, word of mouth has a life and a reach and a potential it's never, ever known in human history. And to be able to leverage that. But here's the principle. It's not who you know, it's who they know. I didn't know Mal Sword. I didn't know Dan Doyle, but I knew Bart Cotter, and Bart knew them. And that connection is what's so powerful about this business. So if you're sitting and watching this on a recorded basis and you're thinking, well, I don't know who, you don't have to know who. Just start with who you do know, because you don't have any idea who they know and where the word of mouth may spread. So I agree with Mal. We'll never see this combination of things again. If you were to make a checklist of all the things you would look for with a company, We're not perfect, but I think we check most of the boxes. And we're just thrilled to be a part of it and in it for the long haul, and appreciate the relationships that we've built. And we look forward to many more of those being added to the ranks. Thanks for the opportunity.
Love it, Ed. Thank you. Does
Wanna add
Rebecca want to say anything?
Ditto.
I love it, Rebecca. So amazing power
She's been on
couple.
phone calls all day. I've been listening to her. So she's been enough today, that's for sure.
Yeah, we love her story too. So thank you for coming on and sharing. You guys are an inspiration to all of us. And I love your story about being fishers of men. Such a great story. Now we're going to bring on another couple that are very near and dear to my heart. They're my grandparents in the business, and they're mentors. I meet with them all the time. They've been able to guide me in my business and help me with, and so many of us with our success here. And they're also very inspiring as far as being athletes and coaches and everything else, and even got me into a canoe was it last year or the year before? So making an athlete out of me. Marcia and Jerry White, come on and share.
Wow, it's an honor. Thank you for allowing us to be here. And each one of us comes to this with a different walk of life. You can certainly hear that. I was working in our family. Marcia and I were working in two different directions for so many years, trying to accomplish what it seemed like we were programmed to do. And you notice that those two roads don't seem to come together. And about the time my youngest son was taken off for school, we found this opportunity, and we had to make a little bit of a jump in life. I'm like one of those vacuum cleaners called a Roomba, where if it wasn't programmed to bounce and go in a different direction, I can tend to go wrong on the same thing over and over again. And I found that I'm susceptible to that kind of stuff as an employee under someone else. I was working as a physical therapist, and in the hospital, there were so many different things that I could see that could be done. And I wanted to chase the moon. I wanted to really do stuff that would be meaningful, not only to that patient, but to the system overall. And guess what? None of it that I did would be owned by anything that I did. So we got to that point where it was time to change. We got introduced to it. I was working with Mr. Terry Latham, Esquire, Sire, and we were working to try to save another company just because we were doing the Roomba thing, just blah, 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 and it was a dying thing. And all of a sudden we ran into this, and man, oh man, it took off like a rocket. But it took a complete change of life and mind. We were sucking on a dry pump. I mean, just like so many others, financially, we were in extreme territory. And you know what? Once we started working, it took a long time to correct that. One of the stories that we tell is that this house here on 60 acres in just amazing country at the base of a ski mountain out here, year-round stream and some timber. We had to walk away from it about 18 years ago because we were still drained out, trying to put the finances together. And she was working 3 jobs and I was doing other things. And we said, okay, we get a chance. There's finally a chance to take a little look at a new way of doing things. And got introduced to Asea. And we're so blessed that when we came back to look at this place that we hand built, number of years later, 16 years later, he'd done a lot of love of the place and improvements, and we were able to buy it back. And when we did, it really pulled our family back together. And I would wish that for as many people as I can. But what I would also, just kind of closing here, tell you that some of us are here to work. Some of us were programmed to just work like a fool. And I know a lot of people that work at a lot of things where they are noble, they are doing the work, they're paying the price, but it's not paying them back. And you cheat your family, you cheat the things that you could become, this has been the greatest opportunity to fulfill 5 points that we sat down and decided, and it finally worked. First one was we wanted to live a life of adventure and gratitude to God for doing it. Number 2, with a bunch of people that we love and care about, making a much bigger difference together than we could ever make by ourselves. Number 4 was justice, to give the credit to the people who did the work. And number 5, I needed this so badly, was to learn to change. And it was to make enough money to be done with money. So when the time came for the most important things to be done in life, time and money were no object. Now that we've been able to kind of cross those things off the list, it's time to give back. And we've been making a bed for you all here, but it's only just to rest while you're getting up in the next morning and going for it full on. And I appreciate all that, and Marsha coming with us. So back to Marsha, anything?
Hey, I'd just like to add, that Asea has allowed us to dream. And I think that that's something it can do for everybody that's on this call, is it can allow you to step out of the straight, narrow trudge, try to get through every day, thinking if I can always put one more foot forward. If you can learn to dream again, then you can learn your world will just get huge. And when your world gets huge, life is going to change for you, and you'll be able to get to those 5 points that we have put together kind of for our family. But learn to dream again. Asea has given us dreams again. We've gone through life in a lot of different seasons, but we had gotten to the point where we could not dream. We had to take walks and say, what if this happens? What if this happens? And to gradually be able to build back so that we could dream, and we could have this incredible Asea family now that we work with. The people that we've been able to help, both physically, financially, are beyond the number that you can count. And it's pretty exciting to be able to be in a season of life that we're in and to still be dreaming even bigger dreams.
That was beautiful. And we all appreciate you, and we love having you in our lives. And I love those 5 points, and I use that all the time because I think that's what we're all looking for. The next person I'd like to bring on is somebody who is very special to me. He's one of my best friends, somebody that I speak to every day. He's the one who brought this opportunity. And, when he was talking about salt water from Salt Lake City, and I like to tease him because, of course, I'm a medical doctor. My husband's a medical doctor. He has a computer sales background. I like to say he doesn't even know what H2O stands for, but he's actually brilliant, and he's an incredible businessman. And I will forever be thankful and grateful to him for opening up my eyes to this opportunity. I almost missed it. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't know if I'm all in, you guys don't miss this opportunity. And let me bring on Terry Latham to tell his story.
So I know when you're saying best friend and stuff, Alan Noble's getting ready to talk. And I'm like, no, Alan, it's me, buddy. It's me. So guys, real quick, just a little snapshot real fast. I'm going to give you a stock tip. We got our hands on a technology that nobody knows we have it yet, but yet science and medicine says the greatest health and science breakthrough of our lifetime. If you went to PubMed.gov, you'd find it's almost 400,000 studies that say the science of redox signaling molecules happen to be the greatest health and science breakthrough of our lifetime. Dr. Lee Osler, who you heard speak before, has written 2 books. He's been voted by his peers to be one of the top 100 doctors in the world in his field. And then I've got something else here. That is, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Narain Naidu was on a short list twice for the Nobel Prize. He solved toxic shock syndrome and mad cow disease. And he was asked by our founder to write a brochure. And 6 months later, he came back with this book. You know what's funny? This is a 550-page college core curriculum book that I would skip this class, to be honest, because it talks about H2O. But here's the thing. People laugh, but they don't understand there's one product on the marketplace, and this is it. So when I came to Asea, now this right here, real fast, 50% of people get results in 30 days and 90% in 90 days. You know the numbers. Then we come to a technology. I'm just going to hit Redox. Then we have this. We had anti-age in the beginning, but now we've figured out if you rub it where you hurt, you might see something in about 5 or 10 minutes. And we have a large success rate. And then we come out with a product like this that we know in 10 minutes, you're going to see something pretty amazing, unless you're Alan. So here's the deal. We are in 33 countries. We have 19 distribution centers, and we're bringing it to the marketplace. So when I came to Asea, I looked at it with a different set of glasses. I didn't come here because I hurt. I came from a different company. I knew about Asea for 3 years. When I made my decision to look at it, it only took me 48 hours to make a decision because I looked at it differently. I wasn't going to say, does this product work for me? No, it worked for all these people. And it's around the science for Redox. Guys, I'm telling you, I did not understand it. And I know enough today to get in trouble. So when I came to Asea, I had the skill sets. Now understand, network marketing is a profession. And if you treat it like a profession, you will get paid like a professional. If you come in it's like a lottery ticket, you'll get paid like a lottery ticket. You might snag somebody because you have great upline, but then again, you might not. So when I came to Asea, I had this skill set. My journey in the network market didn't happen fast, but it did happen fast here. But when I started Asea, this is what I basically did. If I called Alan, I said, hey, Alan, this is Terry. Did I catch you at a bad time? He said, no, what's going on? I said, look, I'm about to make a massive business move. Just want to see if you're open to making some money. That was it, guys. I mean, if anybody said no, which nobody did, it was a short conversation. Why? Because what I told you before, if that was a hot stock tip and we're going public in 90 days, what would you say and what would you do? How much would you invest? The cool thing is the stock, what you have to invest is $40. You have to invest in some products in your own health and your own for your family and yourself. And then you have to invest time. You have to invest in the person in the mirror. You have to overcome and become, and then the income will come in the process. So I started, and Alan said, yeah, no, what is it? I need to know more information. I said, look, Alan, you're busy and I'm busy too. This company's put together a system of information to educate you so we don't waste each other's time. When can you take about 10 minutes to look at a video? I'll look at it tonight. Great, I'll follow up tomorrow. Guys, let me tell you something. We've had a lot of success in this business. But what I've learned in this business is to keep it simple, leverage tools. Most of y'all watching out there probably working jobs. You have a job out there, you need something. You might be stressing out about something. I can tell you this stuff works and it's fast. The only problem is sometimes we get too much in the Krebs cycle. We want to know too much science. We have the videos, we have the validation, the books I told you here. The question is, do you have the elbow grease to get it done? That's for you and your family. But I'll tell you, everybody knows now more than ever that they need a plan B. But guys, you can make this a plan B, and in time, it could possibly become a plan A if you follow what we teach. So, Maureen, thanks for letting me have a couple of minutes and appreciate it. And you turn it over to Alan Noble.
Absolutely. You guys were running a little late, but you do not want to miss this next speaker. Alan Noble, our Irishman, does all of our tools for us. We love him. We owe so much to him. Alan, come and take it away. Close us out.
Wow. Real honor and privilege. Just some great speakers tonight. I'm fired up. I got 2 pages of notes here, and I've been doing this for 14 years, so I don't know what anybody else is doing. I'll actually be celebrating my 14th anniversary in Asea in 3 days' time. And it has been an absolutely incredible journey, just incredible journey. But my journey started back 1993 it was. So just right around 30 years. And I graduated top of my class in international finance and then realized that I was psychologically unemployable. I didn't want a job. I didn't want to clock in and clock out for the next 40 years. I couldn't think of anything more miserable. And so I started a master's in finance. And just as I'd begun the master's in finance, I was introduced to this business model of network marketing, of referral marketing. And I was absolutely blown away by the mathematics. I was blown away by this economic business model. And I was taught leveraged income. I was taught the principles of residual income, the principles of global income. And Maureen, I started scratching my head going, why did they not teach me this stuff in college? In my master's degree? Well, I'm thinking, my master's in finance is teaching me how to look after other people's wealth, but it's not teaching me how to become wealthy. This little business model, which I read from a 96-page book, taught me the principles of how to become wealthy. Now, that was me falling in love with the business model. I have to fast forward to 2009 to find the company that was going to take me to the promised land. And several people here in this industry, you got to kiss a few frogs to find your princess sometimes. And I'd kissed some frogs. And
I want to tell you what happened in 2009, almost 14 years ago. My dad had got sick with a pretty serious health challenge. And I went on a search. I went on aggressive search looking for something that could tap into that ability that we all have, this incredible ability to repair and our lives to move towards a better place of vitality. And I was looking for that for my father. And within 5 days of starting that search, I heard about these molecules. And back then, there were no videos online. There were no websites. There was nothing. I had to get on a plane, fly to Salt Lake City, meet probably the smartest scientists I've ever met, who'd figured out how to crack the code that scientists for years had been trying to do. And I met Vertus Norton. And I heard the story behind saying no to the payout and yes to the people. And I realized very, very quickly, with less information than a fraction of the information that is available to us today, on a fraction of the information, I realized what Asea was and who Asea was. I realized that if your cells can't signal and communicate, little else matters. It's that foundational. That was a very simple concept for me to get. If your house is on fire, you call the fire department. Doesn't matter how good the fire department is if they don't get the message. Very simple concept. Our technology amplifies and clarifies that critical signaling message. The only technology in the world to do that. And then I learned who Asea was. A company of principles, a company of purpose, a company, first time I'd ever seen in my entrepreneurial life, that was willing to sacrifice money for people. It was willing to put people first. And in that meeting, I said, this is what I need to be part of. And I got to tell you, I had every reason in the world not to build this business back then. I was actually business partners helping build a financial services company. I was building sales and training materials. I was working literally 12 to 16 hours a day. I was working 7 days a week. If God had invented an 8-hour week, an 8-day week, I would have been working it. I was about 2 years married. My wife had just come back out from Ireland, living with me. My daughter was 10 months old. I had every reason not to do this business. But all I needed was one reason to do it. And isn't it interesting? The very reasons that we use not to do this are actually the reasons why we should do this. You see, I was also financially embarrassed. Many entrepreneurs on here that have owned their own companies, who's last to get paid? You're last to get paid. And I was living on fumes. That flight to go visit the company, it was only a $99 flight. I didn't have it. My wife had to put it in her credit card. I was financially embarrassed. And so between my father looking for a health solution and me looking for a financial solution, the two came together. And within 4 months, my father had a clean bill of health. Within very, very quickly, we began to see this message resonating with the right people. We began to see lives changed in absolutely phenomenal ways. And sometimes it takes a little bit of courage to step into the unknown. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willing to step forward in the face of fear. And I made the decision that this is what I had to do, that this was my noble purpose, to tell the world that this astonishing, life-changing technology exists. And I want to say to people today, guys, our product's not on trial. It was when I started. You know, salt water from Salt Lake City that tastes kind of like pool water. You should see the remarks, you know. But today our product's not on trial. We have fantastic science and thousands of testimonials on this technology. Product's not on trial. Business isn't on trial. The success on here, I was doing a little calculation. I don't know if I can say this or not, but I was doing a little calculation. I guess there's about $10 million of annual income earned on this call here today, just approximately. I think actually a little more. I think I'm underplaying it a little bit. Significant incomes, residual, passive lifestyle incomes, okay? And I want to say, you know, if you look at where we are right now financially, we're going head first into recession. Some say we're already there. Inflation's at 40-year highs. The price of everything's going up. I don't think this is news to anybody. Last year in 2022, there were over 150,000 layoffs in the tech center. That number is almost 200,000 this year alone, and we're just middle of May in 2023. My question is, out of those, 360,000 people that have lost their tech jobs, how many of them had a plan B? You see, Terry said it, by the time you need a plan B, it's too late. This is a wake-up call, guys. By the time you need a plan B, it's too late. Money's like oxygen. When you have plenty of it, you don't think twice about it. How many of us thought about breathing on this call? When you've plenty of money, you don't think about it. But when you don't have enough money, it is all you can think about. It becomes an obsession. And I'll tell you, I'll close with this. There is one thing that unites, or there's two things, that unite everybody on this call. We all come from different backgrounds. Some of us come from different countries. We have three countries represented here, 3 continents represented here. So what is it that brings us all together? And I'm going to suggest to the guests that are listening on this call, if you can relate to these 2 things, you may just have found your home with Asea. Number 1, we value our health. Health is a top priority. And we also realize that it's our responsibility. It's not our doctor's responsibility to keep us healthy. It's not the government's responsibility to keep us healthy. It starts with us, self-responsible human beings. Health is important and it's our responsibility. Number 2, we all had hunger for financial opportunity. We had a little financial pebble in our shoe. Life was uncomfortable. And I'm telling you guys, if you can relate to those 2 things, you will find an amazing home here with Asea. And although I've been here almost 3 days shy of 14 years, I will tell you, we have barely got started. Less than 2% of the population even knows this astonishing technology even exists. The opportunity ahead of us is so much bigger than what lies behind us. We will accomplish so much more. I love Danny. I love your vision for this, and we'll do it. I mean, what we can do in the next 2-3 years will make the last decade look like we're standing still. So this is the time in so many different ways for so many different people. And I would just encourage you, if this resonates with you, what you've heard here today, come join us on the Great Asea Adventure, because it is an amazing group of people transforming lives in an amazing way, where the size of our commission checks truly is a reflection of lives that we have touched and changed. And what a great way to go through life with true purpose in life and a mission. So thank you, Maureen. Thank you. Thank you guys for hosting this call. And thank you to the incredible talent that showed up on this call tonight. Really appreciate all of you.
Wow. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everybody. What an amazing call. Jim and Ann, Lee, do you want to jump in and have any final words?
I've got nothing to say, not after all that.
No excuses why you can't get there.
So I just want to say thank you, deeply gratitude. You guys have laid the groundwork. The runway is there. Yep. It's whether you choose to push full throttle, not 50%, not 80, not 90, 100%. It's here. As an ex-financial advisor, I've never seen anything like this, ever. Lee?
Oh, yeah. Anything that we could say now is totally anticlimactic, so we won't.
Good point.
We could do Krebs or something like that, and Terry would turn blue. But just if you've heard anything tonight, the reason why all these stunningly successful business people, each in their own right, is here tonight, is because Krebs cycle works. And this company has figured it out how to marry a technology that stimulates the body's natural abilities. If that weren't the fact, none of this would be going on right now. And so that's a foundation. You can set that aside and get on with fixing you. That's my struggle. That's everybody's struggle, is you've got to fix you and get past yourself and realize that there's other people out there that need this. And this is word of mouth, pure and simple. So thank you to every one of you for joining us tonight on the Asea Redox 5. We appreciate your investment of time and for everything that you contribute to, I'm going to say, humanity. That's really what this is about. So thank you.
Jim.
So I'm muted. So I like to close out all of our meetings and I go, okay, guys, this is real. Who do you know that deserves to hear about it? And how are they going to hear about it?
Open your mouth.
We have to talk.
Yeah.
We have to open our mouth and share. That's the most gracious gift as and that's kind of what Ann and I dealt with is as humans, we have to share this. I mean, we're Christians and we share our faith and we have to share this. We don't have a choice. And I'm so indebted to Terry Latham, to Jerry and Marsha White, and to everyone else here. Mal, you and Danny Doyle are absolute amazing models, and Alan Noble, Cristina, it's a blessing. Ed Wiens, you've always been one of my favorites. You know, this is an amazing family. Maureen, close it out. I'm going to start crying.
Yes. Incredible.
I think everything that needed to be said has been said. What an incredible group. Thank you all so much for taking time out on your Friday night to come on and share with everybody. You guys are the leaders. You're the people that we look up to. You're the people that we follow, and we love you and can't tell you how grateful we are for all of you. Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone have a happy
Dr. David Silverman will be our guest next Friday.
Fabulous.
So thank you, guys. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Have a safe trip. Yes. Happy Mother's Day. Have a safe trip, Danny.
Thanks so much.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Y'all are
Enjoy those babies. They grow up fast, Christina.
That's right.